I think we're gonna do it today. It's frickin' 8 in the morning. Oh my god, I keep forgetting how loud that is for me. It's 8 in the morning. Let's try and finish this game. A lot of reading ahead. I had the most horrible wake-up experience because I got, for the first time in my life, a Charlie horse, and oh my god did it hurt. Bureau of Reclaimed Spaces. Nope. Continue. If I had hit clear there, I would have been very upset. Did I say reclaimed or unclaimed? Alright, let's talk to Blue. Got the time, Blue? I gotta get this thing fixed. Or just let it go. To reception. There is a cat. I don't remember why she makes robot noises. Oh, there's a people up there. Ding dong. Why is reception outside? Oh, there's two people. Hello, Lula. Here you are. Marianne has the rest of the evening off, so I'm minding the desk. Microphone was pointed the wrong way. Any word on the address? The results just came in by courier. Good news. Donald and his assistants were able to sort through the noise. I had Rick cross-referencing their results against some of our records. He found a corresponding mail stop on the Echo River route. As it happens, the night ferry is scheduled to make its stop here shortly. The ferryman carries the mail and collects the garbage as well. I'm sure you can catch a ride out that way. You're welcome to wait here. I have to get back to packing. Thanks for help. Happy to help. Suppose we just repeat it until it's true. Safe travels. Try to stay out of the water. It's colder than it looks. And deep. I can't remember if there was a run button. Ooh, forgot about this. And now we wait. How long do we have to wait? Who knows? Alright, what happened? Oh, back at the church. Fine. So we were in the graveyard. Where the strangers come from. They were eating these bodies. It's muddy. That's what he said. Crystals in that mud. Okay. I want to stay outside. Okay. I'll stay with him. We can look for lizards. We'll make it quick. Church floor is cold metal, scuffed and flexed by unknown boot heels. A handmade apparatus for production of moonshine assembled from scavenged metals and natural materials. Sit. I don't know what I expected. The strangers, he kept saying. Kind of vague already, isn't it? Donald's a stranger. Hell, you and I are practically strangers. Earlier in the mine, I didn't want to talk about it, but what'd you find? When I saw Weaver, she was on TV. I was testing a pretty simple tube repair, flipping through channels to check the saturation, and she was just there. It was kind of horrible. I mean, I told you she disappeared suddenly, ran away, but we thought... Yeah, I guess I don't like to say it. And then, the next time I flipped to channel 2, Weaver... It's burned in my vision now. She's standing in a room, the walls are blank, kind of gray, there's a tape on the walls, like markings and desks. Classroom, maybe? The camera's in the corner, so it's this sort of 45-degree angle into the room, and there's Weaver right in the center of the picture. I stopped turning the dial. Hell, I think I stopped breathing. Eventually she spoke, but there was no real sound. Just this awful hum. I read the closed captions. She said to go to the mine. I'd find something there. I can't remember her exact words. Whenever I try, I get distracted. It's so dusty in here. You'd think with all these holes in the ceiling. Did you hear something? Must have been the church settling. Not what I expected. Service door. A skeleton man with 2 skeleton legs. What? I'm the skeleton man. Greetings, visitors. The stranger activates the tape player slung on his shoulder. A crackly drawl echoes in the room. It is patient. It sounds like it should be smiling. My regrets. I hope I didn't keep you waiting long. We don't see a lot of foot traffic these days. I guess you're here about the job. I'm afraid we only have one opening at the moment. Horrible business. We're actually looking for some information about an old computer. Certainly. I'll tell you everything you need to know. I've only just met you, but I feel certain there's a place for you here. I'll just take you over to meet the dispatcher, show you the trucks, get you familiarized. We can converse as we go. Some kind of factory? Yeah, maybe, but for what? Why hidden away like this? And what's that smell? Like bread? Please follow me. I'm a spooky ghost and I'm okay. Why am I allowed to use the degausser? I have to ask you to step in here a moment. This is for your safety, and adjust your outfits just a bit. There's some protective headwear up on the wall back there. Please remove your shoes and eyeglasses. We don't wear glasses, so that won't be an issue. Well, do us a favor and put on the headwear anyway. I don't want to use the degausser because I'm afraid it'll affect everything. Like that. But it doesn't do it for his leg. Weird. I'm a skeleton. More new arrivals this evening. Plenty to do. Got to relay the formula. What formula? Oh, the formula changed our lives. Once, years ago, we were as prisoners to the intricacies of our debts here. We'd have to account for everything on paper, compounding interest by hand, reassessing amortization, and leveraged asset distributions according to nightly merit decay. That was a lot of big words. Then she stepped out of the dark caves to show us the light of the formula. She had a brilliant grasp of mathematics and saint-like way of speaking right through the numbers. Now we just plug our daily numbers into the formula and run it all through the adding machine. We occasionally suffer from some surplus drift, but she instructed us on all the necessary adjustments. It was devastating to see our revered mathematician go, but she needed elsewhere. She was needed elsewhere. Oh my god, I don't speak for a living. Her legacy abides. What's the job? I don't know that it's been settled just yet. You see, sometimes we take on newcomers already in debt to the distillery. One of the foremen will find something for them to do, chip away at their sum until it's all settled. That's what I'm doing here, chipping away. That's what we're all doing. Check this stuff out. It must be decades old, but it's in perfect condition. Yeah, I got a bed. That's why I got into this business, to keep old stuff like this running. Seems like such a shame to let it just fall into ruin, you know? Like the computer back in the cave, Xanadu. Decades of engineering, thousands of years of mathematics and philosophy, all petrified into living stone. How could you just let it fall apart? You know what's interesting? Is the go here thing is a horseshoe, and the degausser also looks like a horseshoe and stake. To the shuttle. Here's the fleet. Haha. Oh, we just use these to get around internally. How big is this place? Oh, it's grown a great deal over the years. Incredible to think, really. When Mr. Bishop founded this operation, it was only about 1,800 square feet, and half of that or more was occupied by camouflage to keep the law out. Hiding out in the back of an old church, purifying spirits by handmade fire, a kettle, and a dream. So the trucks are just east a ways and shipping. You can become acquainted with the dispatcher there. Give me a tap on the shoulder if you see something that catches your eye. Always happy to show off the facilities. Sublime machinery. Catch a ride. Oh, who is she? Wait, what's down here though? I ruined it. We got a skeleton truck man. Oh, I can't talk to him. Oh. This is much more confusing than cannibals. I think I broke it. Oh, there we go. Big distilleries. What's all this then? Please don't touch a thing. Very sensitive devices. We're not even allowed to run the formula through them. What do? Temperatures, pressures, wear, tear, acidity, supply levels, and any and all attending numbers in need of crunching, and so on. Wait a minute. Is this the place where they make that whiskey there? Hard Times whiskey? Or bourbon, whatever it was. We're in Kentucky, it's probably bourbon. Although whiskey and bourbon are the same thing, aren't they? So I guess these are like before and after. But they're coffins. Smell nice for a little while, but it's pretty overpowering. No way around. Oh. It's not really cannibalism, kind of. That explains the descriptions on the graves. They're using the bodies to flavor the alcohol. No way to clean them after the aging process, I mean. It's a one-way street. It's like aging alcohol in an old rum barrel or something. Like bourbon-aged whiskey or whatever. You age the alcohol in someone's coffin, and they taste weird. Like a summer breeze. This is the aging warehouse. How many casks have you got aging in there? Couldn't say exactly. Take a look at the inventory report later if you like. Plenty, though. Of course, we only have half our aging stock in here at any given time. Most distilleries let their whiskey sit in casks through the cycle of seasons. In summer, the wood expands and the whiskey seeps in, picking up flavor. In winter, the wood contracts and squeezes the whiskey back out. Down here, there are no seasons. Each workday proceeds from the last in an unbroken chain of climate control. So, we make our own seasons. Each cask alternates in a weekly cycle between the cold ground upstairs and this heated warehouse. Interesting. There's the old casks. Malting and bottling. Huh. If I use the degausser now, will they all freak out? Yeah. Malting, bottling, loading trucks. This is so interesting. This is where most of our staff ends up. Pretty modern equipment. Oh, absolutely top-of-the-line machinery. A dramatic improvement. We used to bottle everything by hand, but these machines are marvelously effective. Made things a bit complicated for the workers. After all, the distillery can't just fire them. How then would they settle their accounts? But there's nowhere else to put them. They keep an eye on things here. Can't be paid as much just to watch, of course. Well, that's progress for you. This is so interesting. And I have a suspicion that I shan't voice. Because I don't think it will become true for a long time. Huh. Are they... Are they... They're... Are they cooking them to give like a smoky flavor to the alcohol? Here's a trying yard vents pretty well considering. This is why they call bourbon a comfort food. Those are empty, right? Oh, of course, we don't really exhume them anymore. We tapped that source years ago. I knew it! I knew it! Oh, this is so interesting. We build every cask by hand right here. It's tradition, but I like to think our application of hands and hammers to the oak gives our stuff a kind of life. Well, that's what I like to think. They kind of look like coffins. That's tradition too, I suppose. And I'm sure it helps avert suspicion if a satellite catches us burying them upstairs. Oh. Oh my god, there's so many different ways this could play out. Huh. So... they tapped that source long ago. They don't exhume them anymore. So, the ones buried upstairs could either be casks that they used before and buried because they didn't like the flavor. But that doesn't mean they used the bodies in them? No, the bodies would have been turned into the skeletons which work the thing. Or they were experimenting with flavors down here and then planting the ones they didn't like upstairs. Oh man, this is interesting. There's a freaking out on his back there. Alright, let's go to shipping then. I'm so interested. And good at driving. No, where are you going? There's several... Fine, I'll voice my theory. There are several themes and such going on in this game that make me think it might be an anti-alcohol story, kind of, which would be very interesting, and I'm all for that. Because that entire play at the bar was pretty much about hard times whiskey and good Christian women. Here it is. Now I have to ask, as a matter of course, what kind of experience do you have driving trucks? And I'm thinking that because he's got a skeleton leg, maybe he's got like one foot in the grave because he's drinking himself to death or something. Because wasn't there a scene earlier where he's like at a table drinking? I don't remember. It's been weeks. This one. Precious cargo, you'll do just fine. And you can drive safely, can't you? I haven't any doubt. Now, it's only after what happened with Miguel this evening. I've been driving all my life. Suppose that's all you must say. I like that. Never say more than you must. It's boastful and ugly. I do pity ill-fated Miguel. He was good company, and slow to anger, but if we're speaking confidentially, well, with all that lost product to be repaid, bourbon and glass dashed across the interstate, and a few casks too, we're all just thankful he had no next of kin, so the debt would have to pass to the next of kin. And the debts, where was that line? Lost product to be repaid. And they're down here working a way to repay their debts. I wonder if that has to do with how much they drank in life, or all the... how much... how many people they've scorned, perhaps, in life because of their drinking. So, let's see if we can ring up this dispatcher. Doolittle starts the truck and switches on the CB radio. A deep, monotonous voice drones from the dashboard speaker. 1020 on the low combat. Up in Hummingbird Cave, 1012, City Kitty. This a good time, dispatch? We may have found Miguel's replacement. Thought you might like to get acquainted. 10-9, come again. Introduce yourself. Pleased to meet you. Tell dispatch something impressive about yourself. They're very well regarded here. I guess I could drive a truck like this. 9-9 wheel holder. Gotta pay the water bill. Ah, so. I'm certain they'll call back before long. Let's take a look around the truck, eh? Control the wipers with this knob here. You seem to have a decent torque to them, eh? Can't say how they'd fare in an ice storm, but we must never delay a shipment. Better to assume the risk. Always clear skies down here. So I hear, but most of our product is delivered by surface roads, which feel rain quite often, particularly in the spring months, I hear. Sorry. I don't talk much in real life. I'm sure the wipers are fine. Of course. What else then? Oops. Headlights. Make sure those are working. Headlights work fine. See? That's important. Most of our product goes out at night. You never know you'll run into in the daylight. And dusk can be treacherously misleading with all the indirect light. The magic hour, eh? Technically, well, I guess the magic hour and golden hour are different. The angle of the sun in dusk and dawn means the light is mostly indirect reflections from the sky. Everything looks like a movie. It's all a bit softer. It does indeed, and it's very pretty. Drivers sleep in the day then? Sure, those that sleep. Miguel pulled extra day shifts when he could. Sometimes he'd help me, you know, sometimes over in bottling. He shouldn't have been out driving at dusk. Weird shadows, soft light. Dangerous. He turned off into some gray cornfield in Indiana. Empties rattled under the passenger seat. He kept them over there so the smell wouldn't spread. That window was always open a crack. He had to pull over. Could a night drive in his condition? Wouldn't have been responsible. He was only human. He'd been out since the headlights were on. Didn't even stop for coffee. Cracked a beer at 3, eyes on the road, 4:30. He dodged some stray cattle. The headlights were coming back on. Rockford could wait. Early morning couldn't be much worse than late night. What could they care? He just needed a few hours. So, moving on. I knew it. He's drinking himself to death, drunk driving with a skeleton leg. I'm winning. Oh, sure. I know you'll want to look. Kick the tires. That's a thing we do, isn't it? As though our knees could exert the kind of force these tires see out there on the road. We're more likely to hurt ourselves. Isn't it the way? Sure, they're big machines, but they can be fragile. Absolutely. A truck deserves care and fearful respect. Like a glass elephant. Miguel was a good driver, but he didn't have the quality of deference. What kind of man was Miguel? As I always say of him, he was good company. Many of us have found ourselves in his position, arrogantly grasping at personal sovereignty when our lives had become unmanageable. There's no shame in it, only condolence. God damn. That's a good sentence. Now, what else can we show you? Looks like it's just about ready to go out. We have some good strong folks in shipping here, so you never need to worry about our loading if you don't want to. Bit hard on the knees and back at our EJ. Of course you'll have to unload at the destination, but that's the job. And some drivers like the extra shift stacking and loading here. Shouldn't be doing much lifting these days. I see. Well, surely we can spare a dolly and carrying strap for your safety and health. You should have done that anyway. Conway woke up on baled hay. Everything was too bright. His head hurt. The usual. Lisette and Ira argued loudly just outside the open barn door. She wanted Ira to take him inside and shower, have some coffee, get to the job. Ira said there wasn't time. Conway was in no condition. It was an important job. They couldn't put it off. Ira said to let the deadbeat sleep it off and send him packing. He said Charlie could do the job. Conway stepped out of the barn, shielding his eyes. He tried to say something reassuring, but just sort of stumbled around it. Lisette looked away. Ira just spat and went inside to wake Charlie. Ira was a stubborn man, so Charlie went along. And Conway drifted out again, and he didn't hear about the accident until months later. So, what's next? Truck's radio crackles back to life. Driver, come back. Ah, there's dispatch. Now tell them about your experience. Tell them the truck's in good shape. Tell them you'll start in the morning. Truck looks good. We've been over every inch of it. Dispatch like it just came off the assembly line. 10:33 dispatch. Got 2 black eyes on a flock of crocodiles. Come back. 10-4. Back it down and prick your eyelids, driver. Come back, Lem. 10-4. Come back, wheel holder. 10-4. Got your ears on? Good. Listen to this. I think that went well. Let's head back up to logistics and seal the deal, eh? And I've got one more thing to show you. Park? Oh, no. Wait, is that Park or Park? Is that like going to a park? Or park the vehicle? Oh, I see. Park the vehicle. Let's head back upstairs, eh? I have one more thing to show you. Wait, we only came here looking for some answers about the stupid moldy computer. Oh, the old man in the cave with the moldy computer. That black mold, it's strong to whiskey. Feeds on ethanol fumes, you see. As we age the whiskey, some of it inevitably evaporates into the air. The angel's share. Goes through the vents here and out into the caves. If we can scrape up that mold, we can usually apply some pressure and cold to it, squeeze and condense the angel's share back into drinkable whiskey. Every drop counts when you're making a living on the stuff. So, we'd go down and scrape it off his equipment just like any other place it grows. He kept sending his people here to drive us away. Paranoid. Truly paranoid. Well, now we have the formula, so we don't need to go collecting mold. Since we stopped going down there, I'm sure the mold's gotten pretty thick. Try cleaning off the timing crystal. That'll get you going, I'm sure of it. So, join me upstairs. If you don't mind, remove the helmets. This entire warehouse scene has been incredible. Here it is. A beauty, wouldn't you say? It's an antique, you know. What is it? Why, it's an adding machine. This is where we come for our daily ritual to calculate the day's interest and repayment according to the formula. I usually do so at the beginning of my shift so I know how many hours I need in order to keep up. Yes, I believe you'll do well here, sir. Happy to have you. Congratulations, you're hired. Wait, we can't. It's customary here to start each day with a shift drink. Let's make it special. Mark the occasion. This is the top shelf stuff now. Single barrel. He doesn't. Down the hatch. Vinum memoriae more. And they're here now. Oh, look. I'm not controlling that cursor. Oh, this is awesome. My hand's not even... Look, my hand's not even on the mouse. I didn't click that. This is incredible. Decent enough. Welcome aboard. He's not working for you. We have to get back to this. He has a delivery to make. What's this? Not working. Are you turning down this opportunity? She's right. I have to make this, I'm disappointed, and I'm afraid that leaves us with a delicate problem. As I indicated, this is top shelf stuff you're drinking now. It isn't cheap. If it's not your first shift drink, I said that right. Why did that look wrong? Well, and there's the matter of this tour just now. My time and experience are billed at quite a premium. This is not good for you, my friend. You're in quite deep. By my back-of-the-envelope estimizations, well, we have that in common, I suppose, all of us. Yes, I'm afraid you'll have to work this off somehow. It's just the way of it. What's happening right now? You can start tomorrow. Take the time to settle your affairs, of course. The interest begins to compound immediately, and, well, we'll go over the formula when you get here. I should get back to work. See you tomorrow, then. Get your affairs in order. Get ready to die. You're coming here to work. That was incredible. Has my skeleton leg gotten longer? Did it start off at the knee, or has it always been like that? So I guess I start in the morning. I guess. I'm confused. It's just the way these things go, kid. Huh. Well, that still gives us a few hours to roam, right? Where's that ferry? Oh, it's an actual ferry. I didn't think we were on the water. And of course the ferryman, Karen. Classic death mythology. But if Conway's here to die, it's a mammoth, is the horn. That's very good. If Conway's here to die, and I think even in the first episode when we were at the gas station, I said that the people in the basement were ghosts, or I'm a ghost, or I'm about to die, which is why I can see all these ghosts. Here and there along the echo. A house of nothing. And then that's scratched out. Limits and demonstrations. The entertainment. Here and there along the echo. I'm definitely drawing something from these names now. Here and there along the echo. 1600 frames a second. Beep, boop, bop. Beep, bop, boop. Beep, boop, beep, boop. Alright. I was wondering why I wasn't making the noise. It's been a while since I've had to use an actual phone like this. I wonder if I click that, if it'll hang it up. It does. That's great. Sorry, lines got crossed. That was good.
Hello. You have dialed into Here and There Along the Echo, a guide to the Echo River for drifters and pilgrims. This guide is a public service provided by the Bureau of Secret Tourism.
The Bureau of Secret Tourism.
For a menu of our resources, press 1. If you have an extension to dial, press 9. For more information about our organization, press 3. If you don't remember dialing this number at all, press 5. To hear these options again, the Bureau of Secret Tourism is supported by a generous population of river creatures whom I fix up and grill as necessary. I am environmentally minded, and I believe all creatures are equally deserving of support in their transition to the next world. So I usually try to sing a little elegy, like, small water creature, crab or frog. Now you know that sleep is all around us, like a muggy, tranquil fog. Something like that. It's easier to come up with these songs when I'm hungry in a sort of transcendental fasting state, but I've actually just had breakfast. A debt of gratitude is also owed to the Bureau of Reclaimed Spaces, who unselfishly and unknowingly donates this here telephone line for the purpose of this here informational resource. You can always find the latest secret tourism literature in any of our unmarked kiosks or any other old place it happens to lay. That's all I have to say about that. Hey, do me a favor. When you get a chance, call us back at extension 1928. You can press 0 now to go back to the main menu. Welcome home. For historical sites along the Echo River, press 1. For a guide to the river's flora and fauna, press 2. For help identifying an unfamiliar sound, press 3. If you're holding a snake right now, press 4. To hear these options again, press 0. For historical sites along the... Well, if you're dialed into this here informational resource, then you're a certain kind of beachcombing, bat-calling sightseer. So let's take a driftwood inventory. For a diver's guide to underwater islands, press 1. For forgotten places, press 2. For restless places, press 3. For what little we know of the Iron Pariah, press 4. For food and drink recommendations, press 5. To return to the main menu, press 6. To hear these options again, press 0. The Iron Pariah is just what she's called along the Echo River. Of course, she once had another name, but it's been
train?
scratched away, maybe out of shame? Or maybe she took a bend too sharply
Yeah,
and
train.
left her true name on a rock. So, what else? We know she was in the war, but neither side would claim her. We don't know if anyone's aboard. She drifts along the water and commands a wide berth.
Okay, a
Tourists,
boat then.
if you hope to
Not a train.
document the Iron Parade,
Oh, an ironclad.
I fear you will be disappointed. She has a beguiling way of vanishing from photographs. Steer to shore and let her be carried along in silence. Pilgrims, I wouldn't dare to interfere. For a diver's guide to underwater islands.
So there's an ironclad and a ghost ironclad.
For forgotten places, press 2. For restless places. For the cluttered place, press 1. For the flooding place, press 2. For a list of the places where people can't sleep, press 3. People can't sleep in the wet grass or on the bridges of New Königsberg. They can't sleep anywhere near Lake Lethe because it's too large. Nobody can sleep with their toes in the river because it's too cold. People can't sleep where I sleep because I'm all knees and elbows, and anyway, there isn't enough room for both of us. I'm not sure if anyone can sleep on the deck of the Mucky Mammoth, but I'm certain they can't sleep on the trash barge because of the smell.
The Mucky Mammoth
Have
must be
anything to add? Please call us back with
the
extension
ferry.
7360.
Oh, that's a different
For a
extension.
diver's guide to underwater islands, press 1. For forgotten places. For a diver's guide to underwater islands, press 1. For secret tourism, forgotten places are the vital spark. Take no pictures here, nor souvenirs. Write no travelogues. We will discuss these places now in vague and qualified descriptions. For the town with no roads to it, press 1. For the silo of late reflections, press 2. For the monument to something that we don't remember what it is, press 3. I suppose it must have been an important event if we felt we needed to commemorate it. The monument looks like it was a lot of work to put together. I wonder if it was a happy occasion, something we were celebrating and didn't want to let go of, or if instead it was something so horrible that we never wanted to forget it, for fear that we'd accidentally do it again.
Getting some serious
There
Night
isn't a
Vale
plaque
vibes.
or anything. I guess we didn't think we'd need one. For a diver's guide to
What I just
underwater
noticed
islands, press
is
1.
that there's no Z.
For forgotten
ABC doesn't
places,
start on 1 and there's no
press
Z.
2. For restless places. Perhaps it's the violent displacement of natural gases. Perhaps the river tilts to face the moon, slowly changing the angle of its surface over time. Some sailors blame corked rocks. Whatever
Corked
the geological explanation, the islands of the Echo River are mostly transient, rising and diving on some inscrutable schedule. The following islands are presently underwater. Murphy's Weather Station Rock, Despina Dockyards, Overdraft Island, The Missing Island, Beton Island, Rock of Boredom. This list is current as of now. For a diver's guide to underwater islands, press. For secret tourism, forgotten places are the vital spark. Take no pictures here, nor souvenirs, write no travelogues. We will discuss these places now in vague and qualified descriptions. For the town with no roads to it, there is a town which has its own roads, but which no other roads connect to. They send and receive mail. There is a school, and so on. But what I want to tell you about now is the horses. There are horses living wild in this town. I forget how they got there. They don't stay in stalls. They sleep outside. They walk through the town on the streets or on the sidewalks, and the people of the town think of them as elegant, wordless neighbors. For a diver's guide to underwater islands, press 1.
So, where to? Emily and Bob. Wherever. You pick. Anywhere I can close my eyes for a minute. Works for me. Cool. Ready to go? Yep. Huh. Mammoth. The mucky mammoth. Cool outfit. The ferryman, hooded and bearded. 5-4. Context backlash. General wear on the gestural gear mounting apparatus may result in undesirable play between teeth in the context and history state machine gears, causing stuttering, slippage, resetting, skipping. This is not helpful at all. Table of contents. Introduction. Installation. Orientations. Order of operations. Passage of time. Gestures. Final notes. That'll do, book. Time to put that mammoth out to pasture, Will. Oh, I feel certain she's got a few trips left in her. If only she had more capable sturgeon. A more capable surgeon, not more capable sturgeons. Sadly, mechanics are in short supply down here. I think the setting is too romantic. It scares them off. What brings you down the Echo tonight? I always end up here eventually. The river is like that. Always has been. Picked you up at the Bureau tonight. Never seen you that far upriver before. I hope that doesn't mean you've been traveling on the Zero. Have you been there? Oh no, not me. The old river rat steers clear of weird highways. I've been traveling this river far more than half my life, more or less alone. I think I've seen it change quite a bit in all those years, but I can't say for sure. The water has a peculiar way of making a person forgetful. Some nights I remember a place, but it's full of strange new people. And some nights I meet an old friend on an unfamiliar shore. I wonder which kind of night this is. The mucky mammoth. Cool. Hi, Kate. Love the hair. Love the dingo. How's that cold river spray treating you? I thought I saw you squinting. It's hard water, you know, hard on the eyes. Still irritates mine a little. I'm piloting a tugboat 3 to 6 nights a week. Don't be too shy to close them in public. Your eyes, I mean. People just assume you're thoughtful. You need tea. Let's mix up some turkey tail fungus, peppermint and caterpillar fungus. Just add Toad and that'll be a love potion. I'm teasing. Or am I? How far from Dogwood Drive? The echo's dicey tonight. Bad luck for you. Expect waves and diversions. Dogwood Drive is by the Silo mail stop. But we may need to spend some time on the indirect route before we hit your stop, okay? And there's other business. Mail to drop off, garbage pickup, and a few favors to execute. All dotted on the riverbanks from here to there. I hope you enjoyed the trip on our little mammoth. Take advantage of all the amenities. Fresh air, cozy bunks, hot tea, the video room. There's some pretty interesting tapes down there, actually. Unusual, I mean. Weird. Watch out that VCR doesn't take your hand off, though. It's untrustworthy. What's wrong with VCR? Oh, please do. I don't know anything about electronics. Maybe try a few different tapes. You'll get the picture. Ask Will how the repairs are going. And if he needs anything. We're coming up on the next stop here. Just refueling and picking up a few things. I could grab a bolt or some wire or something. Whatever he needs. Well, eyes on the road. I love tugboats. Young Master William. Oh, another dog. Oh, that's Blue. For we are mold and whiskey fed, and oh, wet gears. Wet gears. Probably, who knows? First thing I tried. Anyway, down here by this little blue box, took all the gears out, dried each one by hand, then I loaded them back in again. I took care of grinding sound, but my trunk keeps doing that sparking, clankling, weeping thing. To be honest with you, I'm not really qualified for this work. Kate's a friend, you know how it is, don't you? Kate was asking if you need anything when we stop. I don't know. Scratch ticket? I think she meant, like, parts? Wouldn't know if I did. What's your story? Story? Well, I like to listen to them. I like to tell them, but I don't have one of my own. I also don't have a permanent address or a pickup truck or any change of clothes. I wash my laundry in the river, and in that moment, I'm truly free. I don't even have any shoes. Hey, I'll tell you where I left my shoes. Did you know I'm a classically trained organist? It's true. Look at these long fingers and pedal gripping toes. Doesn't matter. Minor in French literature earned me a position teaching Artaud to Sola at the university. Well, some shitty governor cut state funding for our department, and I was demoted to mopping floors, running wiring through walls. I changed his places. I operated the soundboard at the student theater. I left my shoes there at the university. It was a protest. Walk without shoes for something important or tragic. I ended up by the shore, and I soon was drifting along the Echo. Ran for a while above ground, then it doesn't anymore. But I prefer subterranean waters. Interesting. Kate brings me along, and I record what I see and hear. I try to help with maintenance. I drop off the mail and pick up the trash. On occasion, I take the helm. Anyway, that's all I try to remember anymore. I listen to the river stories, and my own stories got fainter and fainter. Just keep trying gears, I guess. Slow down, it's slippery on deck. Give me batteries. Of course, what for? Johnny said I could use this tape recorder, but it needs a battery. Oh, well. Here's 4 different kinds. Surely one of these fit. You got your battery, small man? Go get you some tape. Hi, Blue. Cool. 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 Oh, yeah, look, his arm's a skeleton now. Musicians. Really? You were in trance. You don't remember this? It's okay. We've all seen a lot of concerts. Cyrano opened. His tape machine was broken or something. It got really cosmic. Right, at the flower shop. I remember that show. It's just sorry, Clara. Well, you have a second chance to hear it tonight. Got the batteries? Let's see. Perfect. This one will do. So, you hit this button here to record. Hold it right here so you don't have to cover the microphone with your hand. I bet you'll find a lot of good sounds just around the tugboat. There's plenty of tape in there, so don't be stingy with it. Just record anything that catches your ear. It really changes the way you listen, for better, I mean. You playing a concert tonight? I could record that. Yeah, Claire came all the way from Lithuania just to do this Echo River gig. It's a tour. Tomorrow I'll be in Nashville, and then Atlanta, and then over to the coast. Brutal. We're lucky she's making a stop. Johnny and I saw her play once, and I remember loving it. Johnny was moved. Speaking of Cyrano, it's his night at the Rum Colony. Kate said she usually stops off there. Well, that's ideal. I'm supposed to meet a lady there to look at some old engine parts about 3 hours ago. 3 hours goes fast at the Rum Colony, man. I bet she's still there. I hope we don't stop there too long. My concert is soon. I don't want to keep them waiting. Nah, it's river time. Nobody expects you to be punctual. Hey, why don't you give that tape recorder a try? See if that cat over there has anything to say. I often use found sounds in my music. If you find some interesting sounds tonight, you can help me out. You know, strangest thing, I can't remember why I came up here. Maybe you should slow down. I'm good. It's just that thing about, what was it? When you walk through a door, you go into the kitchen for something, and as soon as you pass from one room into another, you forget what you wanted. You have to walk back out just to remember, like you left a part of your brain behind. I wonder if I could follow that breadcrumb trail all the way back to the room I was born in. You were driving for hours, getting to sleep? Just resting my eyes. Every little bit helps. All kinds of trash down there. Could have fallen off the hall back there. I think that kid was playing on the trash barge earlier. He seems to keep himself entertained. It's good for him. It's important to know how to be alone. What's up, huh? You look like there's something you want to ask. Fine, you can ask it. One question. So it was the Hard Times Distillery. Thought you didn't drink? I didn't. I mean, I did, and then I didn't, and then I did again. That's how it always goes. I drift out. Finally wind up back at Lisette's with my head between my legs saying never again. Yep. 15 months this last time. I think I hung on because I knew there wouldn't for much longer be anywhere to go back to. She went to live with her sister now, and she probably won't remember me for long anyway. One time she picked me up out of a ditch by the road, blackout drunk at dawn. Came round later that night. She'd taken care of me. I told her I didn't deserve it, and she said I didn't have to deserve it. Sounds like a saint. Oh, you wouldn't say that if you knew her when she was younger. That girl was wild. I guess she got her own problems now. I wish I could help out. Hey, maybe I can make some money and send it to her sister. Maybe they'll keep me on at the distillery. I mean, I shouldn't get ahead of myself. Gotta repay my debt. Hell, I should be grateful for the opportunity. If you want to die with any dignity, you've got to settle up. That's why it's such a damn shame when people go sudden. So it is about drinking yourself to death. Subterranean waters. I guess if you're in an above ground cave, that's considered subterranean, because there's technically earth above you in the form of rock. I'm sure I talk too much. Everyone on this river does. The problem is we listen twice as much as that. We're only telling you half of the stories we hear. Kate told me that I ought to have been a photographer, she said. You have an uncanny way of having been in the place at the time the thing happened, and that's the hardest part of taking a photograph anyway. Nice word to say, but it isn't true, though I know just about every story of this river. Most of them I picked up second, third, or fourth hand, and so on, listening. See? Now I know what you're gonna ask, so I'm gonna answer it. Yes, I'm sure they're all true. I personally believe a story gets more true as it's tossed around from brain to brain and the whole community brings their insight to bear on the brittle facts of experience. There are a few Echo River stories I witnessed directly. I saw that big owl migration pass through. You might have heard about that. I was there when the old train station flooded. I saw the ghost of Stephen Bishop brew up a batch of white lightning on the raft. Or anyway, I talked to a few sailors who'd recently crossed paths with him, and I suspect sampled his wares. One night, when I was working on the Mucky Mammoth, we picked up a gaggle of passengers headed down to the mail drop by the silo of Late Reflections. I knew a couple of them in passing, a pair of traveling musicians whom I often encountered on the river. The others were strangers to me at the time, a young woman, a small boy, and an old man whose name I didn't catch. Oh, and a smelly old dog. Docked at the gas station so the mammoth could refuel. A floating gas station. Ezra stayed on the tugboat and looked around the map room. I'm gonna run and go get a soda real quick so that I can hopefully stop yawning. Oh, my leg. I forgot about the Charles horse. Just sit here for a second, make sure it's not going to start any conversation. Hey, there's the dog again. Alright, I'll be right back. To the water. Oh, my leg. My leg. My, my, my. I got water. I got ibuprofen. I got soda. There's a dog. Ezra watches the lake drift by. He sees a person come up behind. Oh man, I love this. This lady's got a great design. She reminds me of the, is her name Rosie? Rosa? From, Atlantis? Boat covered with silver frogs. A floating gas station. 5 small boats tethered together with silver rope. A small island covered with something that I clicked too fast to see. What a relief. Thanks for taking the wheel. Our secret, okay? How do you know which way to turn? Keep my eyes open. That's the most important part. Speaking of which... Oh hey, there's the gas station. I was hoping we'd cross paths soon. Just kinda drifts around. You never know when you'll need it. As you can see by this dial right here, our fuel situation is pretty desperate. I have a bad habit of letting that needle spend a lot of time in the red zone. Same. We should only be docked at the gas station for a few minutes refueling. You might just want to stay aboard. So, you like boats? Never been on a boat. I could have sworn when we first got this guy he was a doctor. Oh well. Oh wow, well, here you are. I think this is a good place to start as any. So, what else did I neglect to explain earlier? This area here is called the wheelhouse. All these gauges and controls help me understand what's going on with the Mucky Mammoth and her hull. This is a compass, but it doesn't work very well down here for some reason. I just go by landmarks basically, and lights. Did you see those 2 lights on the side of the boat? A red one and a green one. Yes, I know the green one is on the left. The red one is on the right, I think. And it's to signify which side of the ship you're looking at. If you're... Well, it just helps with port and starboard. And stuff. Planes have them too. All other boats have them too. Some are different colors or in different configurations. If we cross paths with someone right away, I can work out what kind of boat they're in and what direction they're going, even in the dark. It's all about looking up here. The other half of piloting this boat happens down in the something room. I need to stop clicking so fast. Speaking of which, Kate peers out the window. Have we passed the big rock that looks like a dinosaur yet? No, but we passed a little island with a bunch of ducks on it. Ah, yeah, Duck Island. It's named after a nasty old hermit called Edgar Duck who put a claim on it many years ago, and then tried to build a house there. I heard he didn't have a better kitchen, but used all his material on a big fence. He used to blast an air horn if anyone drifted too close. He eventually died, but the name stuck, and at some point, the ducks moved in. Maybe people dropped them off there. I don't know. That's weird. Should have definitely passed Dinosaur Rock by now. Oh, there it is up ahead. That's my new favorite rock. It's great, right? What was your old favorite rock? A little rock I found that looked like a rainbow when you held it in the sunlight. Cool. It's strange, though. According to my charts, we should have passed Dinosaur Rock before Duck Island. But that's okay. Sometimes charts need updating. Hey, Will is down on the map room right now. Could you run down and help him adjust charts to move Duck Island so it comes a little earlier on your route than Dinosaur Rock? The map is down below deck on the lower level, right next to the sleeping quarters. I'll get on the intercom and let him know you're coming. Will do. Yeah, he's gotta be a doctor, because why is he wearing a suit and tie? I sneezed, but you didn't hear it, because I'm a doctor of hiding sneezes. No noise indeed. If he was a doctor, and I'm not saying he is, I wonder if he's being infantilized or made to seem childlike because of his drinking. Hey, what's up? Going below deck to look at all the maps. Maps, yeah, but they got a lot of them down here. Probably need maps to travel by boat. Myself, I don't use them. I read the signs and I remember the roads, you know, landmarks. Or I ask for directions if I'm going somewhere I've never been before. That's okay to ask for directions. Remember that, kid. No shame in asking for directions. There's a kitty cat. I love tugboat. Look at the engine. What's going on in here? Oh, you got the shakes? You got the shakes. Oh no, you're playing a theremin. I see it now. That makes sense. Got the theremin, got the antenna. Look at the little buggies. Little bug crabs. Cool, playing a theremin. This is harder than it looks. I've always wanted to learn to play the theremin. It takes a certain kind of ear. Oh, like perfect pitch? Do you have that? Not really. It's more like muscle memory. When I'm playing the theremin, I kind of hear with my hands. I must sound ridiculous. No, I think I get it. I want to record that. Oh, there's a wall there, I see. Buggy crabs. Salutations, small man. Kate says you have an adjustment for our charts. Good timing. I'm just checking my copies. That's how we keep our charts up to date. As we pass through a section of the river or the lake, I draw a new copy of the map and make adjustments for anything we see that doesn't match. So, this is where we have Dinosaur Rock marked now. This little dinosaur drawing, I drew that. Cool claws. Thank you. And this here is where we thought Duck Island was, but now I guess we have to move it back a bit. But how far, I wonder? Any ideas? Anything else you remember about when you saw Duck Island? I saw the clock. We passed Duck Island 6 minutes before Dinosaur Rock. That'll do just fine. So, let's see. At our current speed, that would give us a distance of 1/8 of a mile, let's say. Somewhere around here? Good enough? That should do it for the new copy. I made some other corrections, tucked in the banks a little, made this section deeper, and left off a shipwreck that must have washed away or been scavenged into splinters. Of course, it needs a lot of clutter. All these old copies. Say, I was just about to throw this stack out. Maybe you'd like to hang on to one. They're out of date, but they could be fun to look at. They're mostly river charts, I think. Take a look and see if one of them catches your eye. Faded old map. Here, turn it around like, there you go. There's no real idea of north down here, magnetic or otherwise, so we just hold the maps with the current pointing down. The river curves clockwise around a few small islands, a note is scribbled along the margin. Note, islands just below the surface only visible under bright light. They come and go, the islands, that is. I still mark them if I see them. Like, the guy on the phone said. I'll take that one. Nice. Well, thanks for your help with the chart adjustments. Our next stop is a bar called the Rum Colony. I guess you're not much of a barfly, but you might like to run around on the beach. And the decor is, well, I'd be curious to hear what you think of it. That gas station isn't anchored to anything. Follows the current, we might run into it along the river, anywhere along the river. Kate just starts looking for it when she's low on fuel. The Echo provides. It's not usually on the lake, though. That was strange. Kate had a theory. She thought the rude weather upstairs was flooding the river, and everyone headed down to the lake to ride it out of the calmer waters. Anyway, my mechanical musician friends went ashore for a bit, too, looking for some snack foods. Kate doesn't stock anything on board the Mucky Mammoth that doesn't grow wild, and it's not to everyone's taste. Or maybe just to stretch their limbs and charge their batteries. They came back looking refreshed. I'm sure they needed that moment to themselves. You wouldn't think a pair who made their living performing on a stage could be so introverted, but they really were. In their way, sure. Oh, but they really were in their way. Sure. They had plenty of friends along the river where they traveled and performed. Often in those days, but I think nobody else ever really got through that inner circle was drawn with 2 strokes. I need to learn where punctuation is. That inner circle was drawn with 2 strokes, I mean, for a while anyway. Naturally, I assume they met at a gas station attendant. A man as anonymous and itinerant as the place itself. I assume he talked their ear off. Everyone on this river does, but I know the fellow well enough to know he wouldn't want us reminiscing on him now. So they came back aboard, Mammoth refueled, and we ambled on toward the rum colony. The same rum colony from Kentucky Route Zero. Shannon retreated to the TV room to browse the Mammoth's video collection. Shannon followed the other travelers ashore to a drowsy beachside bar called the Rum Colony. Damn. He made it seem like the decor would be worth looking at. But also, Kate made it seem like the videos might be spooky. The Mucky Memo. I love these little crabs. Eject. Search. Oh, that noise when she took the tape out. Shelves are full of dusty tape. Some have been relabeled several times, stickers piling up thick on their spines. I love birds. Insert. Ah, great noise. Watch. Blue-black morning swings across the screen. The birdwatcher tramps through dewy grass. He stops with a wet grunt and rests the camera on a pile of rocks. Birds from Great Distances, Episode 12. Appears briefly on screen. He twists the lens by hand, pushing the frame past trees, onto the road, and coming to a halt zoomed in on a fuzzy fist-sized artifact resting on the momentary stroke of a telephone wire. Shannon and the birdwatcher observe. He breathes heavily and she holds her breath, like she's afraid he might hear. Afraid of distracting him, or of being discovered and contaminating his perfect isolation. Traffic picks up indifferent as the sky lightens. The black smudge in the center of the frame gradually becomes more prominent, but never in any greater detail. Been there a million times. I'm also a photographer who birds. More birds. That's funny. I wonder if a cat would like to play with a crab. Is that a horse? What's going on over here? Oh, it's blue. She's just at a weird angle. I thought that was a horse tail. It's raining heavily as the title, Birds from Great Distances, Episode 27, flashes on screen. She knows by the sound the volley of rainwater on mud, tree branches, the rusted bed of an old pickup truck, and some birdwatcher's own skin and hair. He swears under his breath. She can hear the rain there, too. in his wet breath and the wet exclamation of his palms slapping the water from his forehead and shoulders. The camera's pointed at a cedar shed with one hinged door angling erratically in a storm. From this distance, it's hard to tell if it's been damaged or simply left open. When the door swings wide, she can see the shed is full of small boards, scraps, maybe, or rough-cut pieces meant for very small projects, and then stacked carelessly on shelves and piles, quickly sorted and forgotten. And there's the bird, a blue ball taking shelter on the shed floor, nested in scrap wood. I thought for sure it was going to say even more birds. Let's do it again. If it's the same one, I'll just click through real fast. Video's black. Shannon only knows it's playing because of the cicadas and then Bird from Great Distances, episode 81. Screen isn't totally dark, of course. It's what she thinks of as video black. A deep mottled blue, noisy with magnetic decay and the cottony limits of the camera's sensors. It's the black she sees. I'm afraid I changed yawning for burps from the soda. Before she goes to sleep, the night black, the eyes shut against streetlights black. She has more words for it than she expected. She wonders what words the bird watchers use for it. She wonders where he is relative to the camera, where the bird is for that matter. Enough bird. Fine. I guess I'll get on with the game. Look, I love that they have no bodies. It's just antennas, legs, and then shells. They're so good. Maybe I should tattoo that. Oh, and this one's in a can? Let me write that down. Pen died. You can borrow mine. I lost something once. Kentucky Route 0. Crab chat. Perfect. That awful hum. It seems to start before Shannon even hits play. Then there's the familiar room. There are the blank gray walls marked with tape and school desks. This time she notices a few more details. The murky carpet like standing water. Some video equipment stashed in the corner. A row of lockers. So this is where Weaver is. And there's Weaver, looking serenely at the camera as before. She starts speaking, and as before there's no sound but that hum. Shannon finds Weaver's words coming back to her as they appear in the captions on the screen. Mail, school, and these magnificent, tragic horses. I told you there was a horse. Go underground, sorry. As deep as you can go. The air's cool, the earth is damp, and when you close your eyes, you're surrounded by the dead. Remember where that is? You'll find your way from there. I think this place is what you're looking for. Some of it will wash away soon, but I think you'll be happy here, even without the mail. School. The text repeats for a few minutes, and Shannon stops the video. Hey, Kate. And Will. And Blue. And Cat. And Crabs. You guys didn't go to the rum colony? No, it was only a few notes, slow and sad, like funeral music, you know? I don't remember it being sad, just simple and unburdened. Maybe that's what funeral music sounds like to me, unburdened. Oh, hello. Kate and I were just trying to remember the Mammoth song, but neither of us have heard it for years. Will just found the mechanism. In the mammoth's belly, hidden in gritty matted fur. It's like a big music box, a slowly spinning cylinder covered in metal pins that pluck her dulcet guts and pump the bellows in her bowels. But some of the pins are rusted and worn away, easy to replace if we can ever remember what the notes were. Did I hear you browsing the archive next door? Find anything good? Where'd all those videos come from? People just leave them on board. They used to all be movies and that kind of stuff. I like nature documentaries especially. Some people left home movies or little art videos they'd made, but that damn VCR devours anything you leave in it. It just switches into record mode at random, I think, and picks up whatever's coming in over the antenna. Of course, the only station we get down here is that WEV community television, you know? They've got that show with the gentleman playing banjo in his birthday suit. I'm sure you've seen it. Oh yeah. And if there's no tape in the machine when it tries to start recording, it makes this awful sound, like putting a squeaky toy in a food processor. I can hear it above deck. Awful. That's why I put the sign up, please do not rewind after watching. At least that way nothing gets taped over anymore. Where is this station? No, I'm sure I can fix it. My hero. We were talking earlier, she has an intuition for these things. I just like taking things apart. Should definitely meet Dashiell. He did a lot of volunteer work for WEV in the early days, wiring up antennas and relays. Stuff like that. I think you two would have a lot to talk about. He works at the telephone exchange. No, I'm afraid he's been let go. Oh yeah? That's odd. He still takes the ferry to work every day. I'm sure he's at the telephone exchange right now. In fact, I dropped him there a few hours ago. We're stopping at the telephone exchange again shortly to deliver their mail and pick up their trash. You should go ashore when we do. Ask for Dashiell. I rarely miss a chance to lounge on the beach around the rum colony. And I do enjoy a drink, though I don't find their signature liquor suits me. But this time I elected to stay aboard and shoot the breeze with Kate over some mineral water. Still, I heard reports. Oh, is this Will talking? I heard the old man went a little deeper in his cups. Not at all surprising, he seemed to have some momentum. Patch mixes up some pretty magnetic drinks. They're filled with iron. Oh, I'm stretching. Oh, it's me. It's me and I'm stretching, but not my legs, because then I'll reactivate the frickin' cramp. Well, if we're talking about the rum colony, I should tell you about Patch. He's the bartender, general manager, creative director. I guess that means he books the music. He's pretty much run the place for the last 7 years. A lot of folks assume he owns it, but that is not the case. Rum Colony is owned by a dead man named Vernon. Technically, it would be owned by the power company, who once bought a sizable interest from Vernon as part of a state-sponsored investment program. But a clause in that arrangement requires them to keep their hands off the day-to-day, and most of the profits, so long as Vernon walks this earth. The upshot of all this is that nobody come forth to identify the body. Patch is a good guy, though, kind, trustworthy, and he makes a strong Mai Tai, if that's your thing. Valkyrie and Blue lounged below deck. Valkyrie's a cool name for an animal. And for a Valkyrie. Do I get to have the animals talk to each other? Nope. While those two gentle beasts kept things under control aboard the Mucky Mammoth, I went ashore with the rest of the crew to make use of a telephone. I called into my answering machine, which I routinely neglect for intervals of months to chip away at the pile. Kate checked in on a client of hers. She's a birth doula. In addition to being a tugboat captain. Did you know that? Clara talked to her sister in Lithuania. Illness in the family, I gather. Anyway, the evening hit a low point not much later on. So let's take a quiet moment here to listen to the river and reflect on the unburdened sleep of dogs. And maybe I want a tattoo of the tugboat. Tugboat. I should just keep this marker out since this pen is dead. Ezra taught us a card game. Shannon, Ezra, the old man, and I stopped at the Radovinsky Center to make some quick cash. Ezra taught us a card game. The Mucky Mammoth. Three deep breaths, 8 white doves, 5 slow hours. 7 blue petals, 3 deep breaths, 8 white doves, 5 slow hours. What are we listening to? Oh, just this tape a friend of mine sent me. They live in the desert. Fesinks? Something like that? Sounds good on the Mammoth's PA. Yeah, that's the only way I listen to anything lately. Your turn. Huh. Interesting. Oh, that's how you play. Okay. I'm just glad it didn't come to my turn again. You took a bullet there, my friend. And we're only how many cards in now? 5 or something? I assume it'll go to 52. Yep, whole deck. So in some cases there may be a stalemate, though not with this crowd, I don't think. We're all too soggy-brained. I know I am. I even take homemade supplements for it. Shade-grown lichen boiled with the peel of a lemon, then frozen and crushed with oak leaves. It's a scalp massage oil. You can smell it if I get close. Close? It dries the brain out a bit, which is helpful for a good memory, if I can remember to use it often enough in the first place. Oh, don't worry, the soggy brain has its benefits too. If your brain is soft and damp, new ideas can make a clear impression, like a boot in wet sand. But like wet sand, it can easily get muddied and washed away, so there's a trade-off, see? It's a shame we can't have it both ways, isn't it? What's this game called, Ezra? Forgetting game. I have a feeling the next time I see Conway will be much more skeleton. Kate likes to give her passengers the opportunity to make some floating around money, and that lab pays cash in small envelopes upon completion of their little gauntlet of non-invasive tests. It's a project of the university. I think they're studying, I don't remember. The Mammoth also collects their trash, mostly shredded paper, though Kate says once they left half a vending machine on the dock. Nobody seemed too interested in the lab stop that night. They stayed aboard and played a card game. I read a book and let me tell you about it. Takes place in a castle. It's some historic landmark being maintained by a bunch of college kids and aging social misfits. The main character works in the gift shop. They're co-workers, Mimi and Jen. Mimi is older than Jen, but they seem to be at the same point in their lives. They like their work. They have a playfully antagonistic relationship with their boss. I actually only read a bit from the middle. The two. Mimi is traumatized. I don't know what the event was exactly. I guess I would know if I started at the beginning, like the writer probably wanted me to, but I never found that way of reading suited me well. Death of a Loved One, I think? Something like that. In my life's work as the Echoes River premier anecdotalist, I've always found that a carefully exerted moment is more powerful than any epic history. That's my excuse anyway for reading books from the inside out. So I stopped there. My eyelids were getting heavy. We were headed back to the lake, and a chance encounter with the Iron Pariah shown me a ghost of an ironclad or a swimming train. What's going on? I drank that soda, now my nose won't stop running. Trees, very cool. Very cool shorthand for trees. I took a yap. You may be able to tell, but I think I'm doing the options that will lead to the shortest run. Hey, just a quick one here. I'm going ashore to do some mushroom hunting. This little island is my favorite spot, and I figured we're already running late. What's one more unscheduled stop? I just need to find Will and get him up here to keep an eye on things, you know? I bet he's asleep. Could you run down and wake him up for me? Bunks are down on the lower level right next to the map room. Thanks. Kitty cat. To the Orlop deck. A recorded lecture plays from the tape machine next to Will's bunk, and even hinted that he had in mind a design for this device as recorded in the diary and sundry observations. Why should personalities in another existence or sphere waste their time working a little triangular piece of wood over a board with certain lettering on it? The whole business seems so childish to me. If we are to make any real progress in psychic investigation, we must do it with scientific apparatus. Making fun of Ouija boards. Again, for Edison, a technical solution to every problem. He goes on to suggest the parameters of the apparatus, and yes, a question in the back, James? Yes, this is idea of personalities lingering after death does appear to be in conflict with Edison's theories about what he called life units, the subatomic entities that animate matter and then scatter to other configurations when a person passes on. But given Edison's emphasis on memory and cognition, remember, we're talking about the inventor of the phonograph. Doubtful. And his colorful descriptions of the swarm of interchangeable drone-like Edison even uses the word proletarian life units animating the human mind. His theory naturally posits that any individual life unit possesses on its own some fragment of memory. So, according to Edison, when life units recombine from, say, a soldier into, say, a flower, we may be able, using some apparatus, to coax out from the flower memories of war. Makes sense to me. Well, hello, small man. You caught me in my pre-dawn nap. I try to sleep in little nibbles when I can, maximizing my time in the threshold states. Oh, you know, the half-asleep, half-awake in between places. Play these old tape lectures during my little nipple naps. To absorb the information more easily. It's pretty effective. I wish I could do everything half asleep. Can't say I learned very much just now, though. May have been too busy dreaming. A vivid narcotic fantasia aboard the... But those are always the quickest to dissipate. I'd better tell you about it now before the spell is broken. Will takes a deep breath, focusing on the task of recalling his dream. I was small, not a child. An animal, maybe. I patrolled the corridors of a great iron ship, searching for scraps and mice, I think. And crying? Always a weak, mournful mew. Other crewmen slumped in odd corners or lay drunk on the deck. The halls smelled of shame, defeat, and rot-gut corn whiskey. They dumped artillery into the water, tore their flags into cloth scraps, and made handkerchiefs to bury their sobbing faces. They drifted on Lake Lethe, drinking the cold black water and eating eyeless fish raw. When they at last ran out of cooking fuel, they seemed in their despair to forget even language. After an interval of years, the ship crossed the threshold into absolute silence. Silence, except for my hopeless whimpering cry. Anyway, that's all I remember. I never remember any of my dreams. Probably for the best. The images of dreams are often wasted on the waking. Well, I've got a stew to start. You may want to hurry back above deck. I believe we're about to pass the Bat Sanctuary. It's quite a thing to see. Oh, I'm getting lightheaded now, boys, because I had all that caffeine and nothing to eat today so far. Kate came back from her mushroom hunting excursion with a small basket full of oddly colored caps and stems. No doubt delicious to a morsel. Of course, she intended to use many of them in her medical practice to ease the pain, nausea, and anxiety of pregnant women, but I can usually rely on my charms to snare a bite or two. I have no preference when it comes to mushrooms, but by which I mean that I treat them all interchangeably. I prefer not to know their names or qualities before I cook them up and eat them. It's useless after all. They escape your eruditions, as the fella says. That's a good mushroom hunting island, I guess. It's plenty damp, and they've got the cypress trees there to grow on. Of course, they're not indigenous cypress trees, I mean. Everyone down here seems to agree that they were planted as some kind of marker or memorial. And most people will tell you they've got a distant relation or acquaintance who helped dig a hole or water seedling. And nobody remembers what it was all for, and nobody left a plaque or anything. It's a shame. Looks like it must have been a lot of work. Well, at least we have the trees. And the mushrooms. Shannon, help me fix that mushroom stew. I'm gonna end this video here, because I have to go eat or I'm gonna die. But I'm gonna continue streaming in a bit.